On today's special episode of Homeworthy, we're taking you to Paris for a look inside 4 unforgettable apartments that celebrate the art of living beautifully. First, we visit a fairytale home on the left bank, where soft florals, flea market finds, and timeless charm reflect a lifelong dream fulfilled. Then, we visit a romantic apartment that blends timeless French charm with fresh coastal influences. Next, we step inside a filled hideaway where vintage finds, cozy nooks, and thoughtful touches bring a childhood dream of Paris to life. And finally, we tour a dynamic flat shared by 2 creatives where every corner reflects bold artistic vision. Whether classic or cutting edge, romantic or radically expressive, these 4 homes prove why Paris will always be the capital of style. This summer, spend the hottest months of the year in style with Homeworthy as we visit the most extraordinary homes around the world. From the sun-soaked shores of the Hamptons to the classic beachfronts of Nantucket to the vibrant courtyards of Morocco, be sure to subscribe to Homeworthy's summer series to make every day feel like a vacation. You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Bonjour, Homeworthy. I'm Sandra Sigmund. I'm so honored to have you here in Paris with me. Let me show you around and I'll bring you to my apartment.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Bonjour, I'm Sandra Sigmund. I own a French-inspired floral home garden store in Andover, Massachusetts, but I'm now here in Paris at my apartment in the 6th arrondissement. So I was so fortunate to come to Paris in my early 20s. I actually came to work here for 18 months. Funny story, everyone thinks I came to study abroad. I actually came because I was a figure skater with the troupe Holiday on Ice. For you Americans, Stars on Ice is kind of a common name, but over here it's called Holiday on Ice, and the headliner of our show was Katharina Witt. And she was the German Olympic champion. So we were based here in Paris because we had to go visit a lot of the European countries. But I always loved coming back after those long trips and just being immersed in the gorgeousness of Paris. I came from a very New England home. I grew up in the Boston area. So to come to Paris and to see the big boulevards and the bridges and the buildings, I was so smitten. I fell in love. It truly was a place that was so special to me. After living here for 18 months, I decided, at 21, it was time to retire and to head back home. And I remember driving to the airport the last time, and I looked over my shoulder and I said, this can't be the last time I live in Paris. And for about 25 years, I've not stopped talking about living someday back here in Paris. But I think my husband was, after like 25 years of me talking about this, he and I had a conversation one time, and it was COVID. I think we all were just in this place about like, what is life about? You know, life's too short. We've been through something really kind of crazy, and we had a conversation about what our next phase step would be, because our children were getting older. Our last one just went to college, so we were becoming empty nesters. And I remember saying a comment about how our friends were moving to the city, to Boston, and I thought, well, I actually rather go to Paris. And he said, I would too. And I was like, are you kidding me? I was so excited. I actually had a realtor here in Paris that I knew, and I said to my husband, are you serious? Because I'm gonna call him. And he said, yeah, let's go for the weekend. We made the reservation, we hopped on a plane. I mean, we were just coming out of COVID. I think vaccinations were just coming through, and we were allowed to come back to Europe. So masks, it was the whole 9 yards. So we had to be very strategic about what appointments, where we were going, and how many apartments we could see. So we did have some thoughts of what we wanted. Of course, budget is one of them. But my realtor did say to me, now Sandra, you know Paris pretty well. Where are you thinking? Like what arrondissement, what neighborhood? And I used to live in the 8th, and the 8th is wonderful. It's near the opera. There's a lot of commotion. There's a lot of energy. I really liked it, but I always navigated back to the left bank, the Saint-Germain-des-Prés. The 6th arrondissement was my favorite, and my realtor was like, okay, so you want to be in only one neighborhood? And I said, actually, there's this one street I love. And he was like, whoa, one street, one arrondissement? Okay, would you entertain any other areas of Paris? And I said, sure, anything in this area. We went for the weekend. On Friday, we landed on Friday. We had about 5 appointments to see apartments in this area. And on Saturday, we could only get 3 apartments that we could view. Unfortunately, Sundays was out of the question. They do not show apartments on Sunday. And we were leaving on Monday. We actually came to Paris, stayed in a hotel, went and saw all the apartments the first day. And I would say I had a wish list, and the wish list was this, that I don't live here full time, so I didn't want a major renovation. The second thing is I wanted it to be bright and airy. I didn't want to feel like I was like in a closet. And the third was the location. So most of the apartments we did see on that Friday were just not anything we fit what we were looking for. And I will say I kind of came home back to our hotel and was a little sad. The next morning, my husband woke me really early, nudged me and said, what about this apartment? This is in that area you like. And I said, where did you find that? He said, I found it online. And of course, I sent the link quickly to our real estate agent. And he said that had just gone on the market that Friday, so the day before. And I said to him, can we go see it? And he said, absolutely not. And I said, why? And he said, because I'm never going to find the realtor who is the listing broker that will show it to you on a Saturday morning or Saturday. And I said, please, we're only here through Monday. Could you try? And he said, of course, I will try. And he got back to us about 45 minutes later, and he said, they're willing to show you the apartment now. And I said, right now? And they said, yes, because the real estate agent had to go babysit her French grandchildren and wanted us to only, come and see it that morning. So we literally threw clothes on. We were completely jet lagged. We raced over to where the apartment was, and I still get chills thinking about this. And you know how they talk about manifesting? We drove up and it was the street I always wanted to live on. And to this day, I still get choked up about that because, you dream and you just don't think dreams will come true, but it sort of is my little Parisian dream. And we walked in and it was everything we were looking for. Nothing too huge, 8 beautiful balcony windows with lots of light coming in. And it was pretty special. And we bought it on the spot. Thank you to my husband who gave me the nudge, because the real estate agent said that there were 5 people coming to view the apartment on Monday. So we took a big leap of faith and we said, yes, we will take it. And I remember leaving the apartment and we both looked at each other and we said, we think we need a drink. And of course, you're in Paris, they serve alcohol all day long. So we toasted with champagne at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we looked at each other and said, oh my goodness, what did we just do? And I remember my husband holding my hand and said, you know what, honey, life is too short, and let's do this, and let's jump, and let's take this dream, and we can always sell if it doesn't work out. We are now in the entry, and what I really love about this, there's a lot of light coming through. It's our own little private entrance before we head up into the apartment. But how I wanted to kind of feature this very small area is with some beautiful artwork that I found. These are actually sketches I found at one of a street fair called Porte à Vente, and what I loved about these is I think they were like 25 euro, so not terribly expensive, but then I had them all framed and grouped together so it kind of lands this wall in a nice showpiece to the entry. So most apartments have really tons of staircases before they enter the apartment. I am so fortunate. We just have this one little staircase. So come on, follow along. I love this cute little area right when you come to the landing. It's kind of my little nook with these gorgeous exposed beams, which is part of the home in the inside of the apartment. But what I did is I kind of got some old books, some beautiful artwork, some gorgeous pottery actually I found in Provence. Marais is her name. Lovely ceramic artist. And this stone urn I found also in Saint-Ouen, and it kind of anchors in. I had to add some French lavender for a scent. So really just so charming. Here we are in the salon, and this is actually my favorite room. And I love it so much because it really allows me to have the room to do a lot of things. When I used to stay in hotel rooms, I'd bring all my antiques back and I'd have them everywhere and I couldn't walk anywhere. So this is like gives me some space to kind of move around. Also, if I want to entertain and have my groups here from my tours, we can have, like I said, our petit déjeuner and really entertain nicely. So when I was creating this room, the most important thing was, of course, furniture. So I thought I needed to get some modern furniture. I thought antiques would be a little tough for my 5 boys and my husband to sit on. So I was actually got the chairs and the sofas first. These are actually Italian. They're from a company called Natuzzi. So comfortable. They have a little swivel to it. So I got my base first, and then I started bringing in all the other elements to the apartment, especially the antiques. One piece in this room that I need to talk about is this beautiful marble fireplace. I feel it anchors the room, gives it a focal point. This is actually mantle that we found in Saint-Ouen at Maison. And when we went to find the mantle, it was actually a cute story. We actually, on the other side in the kitchen, you'll see where the mantle once was. And of course, when renovations took place, they took it out. So we wanted to recreate this kind of effect here. And when we were choosing one, my husband made the joke that we are probably purchasing the one that was taken out of the apartment and now we're putting it back in. But I do love it. Unfortunately, it doesn't, there can't burn wood here because of the old flutes. They found it was a fire hazard, but I still love how elegant it looks, and it was one of my favorite purchases. On one of our last trips, I said to my husband, we need some art. I can't do any more antique art because I started feeling like this was starting to look like my grandmother's apartment. So I really wanted to get some modern art. So we went to some beautiful galleries in the Marais, also here in Saint-Germain-des-Prés. So I was so fortunate to find this oil abstract art, and it was the most perfect size. We walked in, and you know when you know something is instantly going to be perfect? Well, I saw this and I said to my husband, this is the one, we have to get it. And of course, I didn't have a measuring tape, but I knew it would be perfect. I paired it with a really modern vase that I did get locally at one of the art galleries here as well, and I thought I just filled it with some pretty viburnum. So it's really lovely to change it up. The other thing, for all your Catholic schoolgirls out there, I went to Catholic schools my whole life. This is a very old 1930s candlestick with the Virgin Mother Mary. I just thought it was so kind of cute, and it has little hearts on the base here. And I feel like I love Paris, so I thought this brought a little joy to the mantle and also kind of played off of the modern vase. This was something I desired so desperately for this space. This is a chest of drawers, a commode. I went to a famous flea market called Chateau, which is the Brocante de Jambon, which at first I was like, what is that? And it's basically the fair of the ham. And lo and behold, they are roasting pigs there, and they have like big ham dinners. So it's a fun place to go to look for antiques. And when I turned the corner and saw the dealer had this beautiful commode, I instantly ran to it because I knew it would be absolutely perfect. And it's super old, I would say the late 1800s, and it is all oak and brushed and has a nice sheen to it. So it's really one of my favorite pieces. And also, if we have folks stay here and they need to put their clothes here, it's really a nice kind of storage unit as well. Also at this famous fair Chateau, besides eating the ham, I actually saw this plaster and it's a mock-up for artists to make before they're going to make it in bronze. And I don't know, I fell in love. I felt like it's just kind of like a guy sitting on a base, and I thought he had a lot of character, and I thought he would be perfect for in here. So the dealer told me it was an artist that did end up making this in bronze. I said I can't afford the bronze, but I will take the plaster. So a prized possession. Love all of this kind of antique vintage, mirrors, and I love these little chandeliers. I think they're so darling. It doesn't work, but I still love it. And the other thing, I found this mirror in Saint Ouen. I love how it has the old mercury that's coming through. It's just not perfect. And I feel like, in life, what's perfect? So for me, this was just so fitting. And I love the reflection of light, and it bounces off the window. So that was another reason I wanted a mirror here. Picking art for the salon here, I saw this black and ink etching, and I thought it would be absolutely perfect. I love how I kind of just wedged it in here with the detailed modern black frame, which I just loved. And then of course the old candlesticks, I just have a thing for them. I love the ironwork and the leaf motif to my floral days, so one of the reasons I chose those as well. And then flanked it with two gorgeous chairs, also vintage from Saint Ouen, in a crushed velvet, and pillows by one of my favorite companies, Caravel. Okay, we have to talk about these doors. So I showed my architect a bazillion Pinterest pictures of beautiful Parisian doors, and he actually had these made for me. So they're actually new, but he got them to look old with all these gorgeous detail moldings. And look what I found also at one of my fairs. And they are old. He told me they were impossible to put on these doors, but I begged him to do it. And I just love them, and the detail is just stunning. You just can't find these kind of beautiful hardware anymore, but I was so happy I could. So we do close this off if people want privacy, or if someone's sleeping and jet lag, we like to have an option to either close them or keep them open. But they're definitely one of my favorite things in this whole apartment. This chandelier, I can't say it's my favorite because everything's my favorite, but this chandelier was wedged on a street fair off to the corner behind a dealer's kind of table, and I felt like I had laser vision and went straight for it. And it was so charming. It's kind of a little wonky. You can see the crystals are not sitting straight, but I just loved it. And I thought this medallion could hold a huge chandelier here. And once we put it up, he had to re-electrify it. Yes, my contractor probably wanted to kill me, but I really loved it. I thought it just kind of made the whole room. But a fun fact, my children, I have boys, they tend to be tall. They always knock their head here. So I'm always telling them to go around, but I just love it, and I don't want to replace it. My husband wants me to replace it, but I want to keep it. And again, I just think the crystals are just so old-fashioned and remind me of my grandmother's house. So it was a keeper. Can we talk about these moldings? This is called the wedding cake, and it kind of has the detail that one would see on a wedding cake. So when my architect told me about this, I thought, oh my goodness. So I was actually fortunate enough to choose the design with this master plaster person, and he and I kind of detailed, I had to have flowers in it because of course being a florist, it was really something that was near and dear to me. So again, the leaf motif, which you see also plays off of my candlesticks over there, and the rest of the molding as well in the home. If you can see one little detail, the little imprinted flower here, and then I mimicked it here on the moldings, and again, all completely handmade. The moldings were very important to me. When we did move in, the apartment was renovated and it was more modernized, so I wanted to bring a lot of the charm back in. So one important part of it was the detail of all of this gorgeous molding, and everything had a thought and a purpose behind it, and it really came together because it's a good sized room, but I didn't want to overwhelm it, and I didn't want it to be too much or too busy. And I think we just really did a great job, and it was perfect with all of the little detail that we did put into it. So I have a very dear friend, and she knew I was looking for tables and other little small items for the apartment. We went, I think, a whole full day of going into a million shops, and that night we were heading to dinner, and she called me and she said, on my way home I stopped at this really small antique store and I bought you a table. And I thought, whoa, okay. And when she brought it, I'm thinking a big table. And she brought me this adorable bar cart. And I thought, it's absolutely perfect. She purchased it sight unseen without me, even requesting it. And I think it's just adorable and charming, and it fits the perfect for like a little bar, perfect for a pre-aperitif dinner drink. And it's just, again, I've added little vintage pieces of moldings. This one is wood. It was off of a chateau, I've been told. But again, anything with flowers, I just have to. One thing about this whole apartment is it is so quiet, and I attribute that to all of the insulated doors. These doors open, they're double, and you have like little balconies out here where you could put potted plants. I would love to do that if I lived here full time, but unfortunately I do not. So right now it's bare, but maybe I can get a friend to come water for me. I have a thing for religious items. So I found this at Saint Antoine. It came out of a cathedral, and it was holding all of the large pillar candles. It's hand carved, also late 1800s. I thought it was so charming. It's almost as big as me, and I'm about 5'8", and it is just a perfect piece for this corner. I thought there was like kind of some dead space, so isn't this so charming? I just have to get myself a big candle now. Back to art. This is something I thought would really be great for the apartment, is some modern art. This is black and white photographs. I found it in a beautiful gallery in the Marais, and it's a photographer who shot iconic places here in Paris. And just this guy here just kind of standing with his car on a bridge, so Parisian. And then this one, because I do have a French dog. He's a Cavachon, but half French, a Bichon Frisé. And this is just something I thought was so adorable. It reminds me of my own little dog, OB. And this is a square not too far from my apartment. And again, I actually wonder like where he was going, what he was doing, but he looks like he has his bag, and he's probably coming back from the grocery store with his 3 dogs. Adorable. Le chien. In this area, I think there's so many artisan brands, and one thing I love to do is have like different types of vases. This is a brand called Alix Serenis. It's here in the 6th, and she makes beautiful pottery all done in Limoges, so it's all porcelain. This one has a little bit of like almost like a little basket weave with a little detail, and I think it embraces the flowers so well. Fun story, yesterday I ran to the market, the street fair market that we had in our neighborhood, and got these beautiful flowers, which is ranunculus, some gorgeous double peony tulips, and oh my god, and this viburnum, and it smells so good. So just to brighten the table, had to have flowers, of course. Next we move on to this marble table. I love how it anchors. Sometimes when I bring all my antiques back from the fairs and I need to price them and to skew them, and sometimes I just kind of put them all on this table so I can visually see them. So it's a great landing table, or again, if you're entertaining and you want to bring out some hors d'oeuvres. So I love this table so much. Also purchased at Saint Antoine. Can see a theme here. I guess I love it there, and I love the old iron base, and again you'll see little medallions on either side of the legs, which is adorable. Paired it with some more vintage art because I wanted the apartment to have some modern art but also some antique, and this is just such a good, really beautiful picture with lots of landscape. Because I wanted simple little detail and I would be putting a lot of things on this table, I went with this gorgeous candelabras, again with some floral detail. I think they're brass, but they could just be metal. But again, found them at an antique fair. Sometimes you just buy things you like. I don't have this like set thing where it has to be a certain age or from a certain era. I just like what I see, and I buy what I love. So these were definitely something I loved. So I knew I needed some lamps in this room, and I searched everywhere for some really beautiful kind of modern lighting, and again stopped at Saint Antoine, saw this mid-century modern lamp, and it was the perfect size, perfect color, and I love these kind of round bulbs. It kind of reminds me of like the earth and the stars, so it definitely was coming here, and it works just so perfectly in this corner. And sometimes I just put this on at night and the whole room is glowing, so it's one of my favorite pieces. This is a very unique piece. I wanted a very simple coffee table, not a lot of detail, nothing too large. So when I found this, actually also at Porte de Vente, it was pretty much covered with lots of other things, and I uncovered that it was a mirror on top, so fell in love instantly. Has the metal and also the detail in the legs, and it was just a simple, most perfect size, and it's very movable, so it was one of my favorite pieces to have here, but just really kind of unique and just the perfect size for this room. One thing I thought was important is to have a really comfortable sofa. This one turns into a sofa bed, which is really comfortable, I've been told, because I upgraded the mattress at the dealer that we went to purchase this in. It's beautiful when it comes out because it has an extra long base to it. So it was really a special purchase. And what's great too is all the curtains here were done by Marais, and they're all blackout. So this could be a really charming area to sleep, and paired it with some really just simple linen pillows. And one of my favorite brands is a company called Antoinette Poisson. You'll see some other touches throughout the apartment, but this pillow I just think spoke to me. And I loved how it had some like deep colors and blues and browns just to bring in a little bit more color. So just paired that on the sofa, and look at the little tassels. Love the little details. French do it well. So of course we needed a rug to anchor all the furniture in this room. I was fortunate enough to come when France has their big sales. Usually it's in January and June. I went to the Bon Marché, which is one of the largest department stores here in Paris, and they have a home decor store. This was sitting in the showroom, and I walked in and I was like, I'll take it. I knew it was going to be the perfect size, perfect color. And when I got it back here and kind of set everything up, it was just instantly perfection. So very, very good find. I want to point something out to you. Generally, most Parisian apartments do not have air conditioning. My husband said it was a prerequisite that we had to have air conditioning. So especially if we're here in the later months of the summer. But what I really find interesting is because we couldn't put central air conditioning here, there was another quick fix. And what our contractor did is he drilled a hole into the wall out to the edge of the building, and it's capped off on the other side. But what's interesting is there is a small hose that gets attached, and there is a unit that you can use for each room. So we have a unit in here, and then we did the same in our bedroom, and it really works really well. And we have air conditioning, so on those hot days we turn it on and it's very quiet. You can sleep, you can work, and it's no problem. And we just kind of hide it behind the curtain. It really works. So once we did sign the papers and got the keys to our apartment, we loved, like I said, the location. We did love the apartment. The renovation wasn't too horrible because the previous owner, who was a doctor, and she actually held her appointments here in the salon, and she pretty much modernized it. She added new windows, which was wonderful. She insulated. So it was really quite nice, but I felt like it needed more charm. So we hired an architect, which is like a contractor here in France, and we talked about bringing some of the old charm. I love the Haussmann buildings where they have the parquet floors and the moldings and the plaster walls. So I wanted to bring in a little bit of that charm. So when we sat and had our first consultation, he actually was able to get some of the drawings that were here previously, and we built the whole room around these pictures that he was able to recover. So you'll see the moldings that we put back in. The cute story, he told me that all of the moldings had to be hand done, and they would make it by plaster, but we had to wait for the certain person because there's a lot of people that don't really do that art form anymore. So when I did get to meet the master plasterer, he came in and he told me he had just finished up at Versailles, and I said to myself, oh, how about we get your assistant? And he laughed and he said, no, I'm going to make it beautiful. I'm going to make it like Versailles. And it's kind of a joke. So my husband's like, yeah, you have your petite Versailles here. Other than that, I think modernizing it was just like the kitchens, the bathrooms, but then we wanted to again add some more charm into it, so we added a lot of other things as well. This is it for the living room, or salon as they say, and now we're going to head to the kitchen. when we were looking at all the apartments, most of the kitchens we saw were the size, probably like half the size or even smaller. My husband called them closets, and I had to agree. So when we found this apartment, we knew this was a huge kitchen for Paris. Not only did it have all the amenities with a full refrigerator, most of the time you see a half refrigerator, and it also has a dishwasher, which again, a full-size dishwasher. Sometimes they have the really petite ones. But what I loved about this is the floor. It has the old chevron parquet floors, and my architect has been begging me to replace them, but I just won't because I love them so much. But also it's modernized, so it has a lot of storage, which I really liked. And also, you know, my coffee maker and just all the necessities you need. Because eating out 3 meals a day in France, you would basically spend all your time at a restaurant because, as you know, the French take their time. And I was sitting for 2 3-hour lunches and 2 and 3 hour dinners. And when I'm here for such a short time that I do have a lot of things to do. So sometimes it's just nice to have a kitchen where I can make something simple for dinner. Like last night, I just made something really simple. And I like that I have the option not to have to eat out every single meal. So I have my breakfast here. I come back from a long day and I might have a tea in the salon. But it's just nice to be able to have this room. And when I was designing it, pretty much with the architect, I was so concerned about what to pick and when to pick it, and I didn't want to feel rushed. So I took my time, and everything was white. And I knew, okay, this is not going to work. And I really wanted to make it feel a little bit more old Parisian to go with the apartment. Hence why I went with this really cool wallpaper. It's a brand called Antoinette Poisson. And it is an artisan brand that makes domino paper, and the paper is this linen, so it's a very thick, and the way it absorbs the color is just so much different than I've seen before. So I also thought this pattern would be kind of a little different in a kitchen. When I told my friends that I would be doing a black and kind of beige wallpaper in the kitchen, they thought I was crazy, but it works, and I really love how it just brought this room to life. And it's one of my favorite rooms. And I know I keep saying favorite, but it really is. The other thing I'd love to add is I actually brought this back from the States because I knew I wanted it to be a certain size. So I had this made, brought it in my suitcase, had my contractor put it up, and then I just enhanced it with this vintage wine bucket that of course we do use when we serve wine. Also more vintage art that I just had framed, and just did like a little stone urn to bring a little hominess with the plants. And of course there's some cutting areas, and the natural light here is just stunning. I love having this window and that I can look out in the morning. I just put simple linen shades with this gorgeous vintage detailed curtain holder. And you can see the other side here. I just think this detail is so beautiful. Lighting, I feel, is so important. So task lighting in the kitchen is, essential when you are going to be needing the light, especially when it's nighttime. So I found these at a fair that are glass and had them electrified. And instead of just doing one for the room, I decided to do 2. And I really think because it's a nice long kitchen, that the room can really hold the 2. So added again the little detail with the canopy that matched the wall color, the ceiling color, and it just works. And it's really great to come in, and it brings a lot of light into the room. And also they're incredibly charming with this scallop edge. So adorable. Another thing that attracted me to this kitchen is these built-in shelves, and I am a big fan of just putting like things that are usable but also look pretty. And I found this prized champagne bucket. I think it says it is from 1798. I mean, how cool is this? So sometimes I just fill this with, fruit or whatever I'm serving, or as they say, you can use it for champagne. So I love that. Another thing is I found this plate at an antique fair, and I thought it was so cute, and I was originally just going to put it somewhere else in the apartment, but a friend of mine, unbeknownst to me, found another one. So it's a man and a woman, and because I have 2, I added them into this kitchen little nooks here. And because we're in France, I knew I had to use a lot of little vintage things to, hold standard things that you normally would use, just a basic container. So I love this pedestal. It's usually used for cakes, but I'm just using it to have candy, French candy. I also love these little silver platters. And this holds my bread. And if you are in Paris and you want to go to an amazing bread bakery, this is Poland. And they also make the most delicious butter cookies. If you are in town, definitely head there and get these. So again, just charming little things that I love to use here in the apartment. And this is one of my favorite. I've had people actually barter me for this on friends come and they're like, Sandra, I'm stealing this from you. And I said, absolutely not. It's my little sugar bowl. It's actually not a sugar bowl. It was used for, I think, jams or jellies, but I use it as my sugar bowl. But look at this detail. Again, you can see I have the same reoccurring theme here throughout my home. And, even these little cafe spoons that I found with this cute little detail. I guess it's in the details, as they say. And this is one of my favorite. So cute. Again, being a busy shopkeeper, sometimes coming home and just wanting to cook. I love trying different French recipes. One of my favorite books is this one called My Paris Kitchen. David actually lives here in Paris. And if you want some great recipes, sometimes I just make a roasted chicken with vegetables. It's delish. He is such an inspiration and one that I would say highly get. Because, in French way of cooking is always the simple ingredients. It's not layers of mixing all different things. And that's what I like to cook, and just keeping it really simple. And everything is so incredibly fresh here. I went to the market yesterday and it was incredible. Like, huge peppers and legumes and white asparagus and things that I just don't see often at home. So I love to cook really in its natural state, and just a good baguette and some cheese and ham is also good when you're in a pinch. So it wouldn't be a French kitchen without a French breadboard. So I have a new French breadboard from a brand called Marais, which is really lovely. But then I also have an old vintage one, and you can see the wear in it. And I just love these. I do use them, but I also just love how they accent this area. And, this adorable teapot I found, and I don't necessarily use it, but I just thought it had so much detail, and I needed some other objet to enhance the kitchen, and found this and thought it was perfect. That's so cute. So I spoke about the mantle that was originally here, and here you can see this is where the hearth of the marble was. So I knew there was a fireplace in this area, hence why we added it to the adjoining side of the wall, which is where the salon is. So I love this part of history. My architect asked if I wanted to remove it, and I said, absolutely not. I love the history behind it. I love the great reminder that someone lived here and perhaps used this as, their fireplace in their home. So one of the things I used to do is, because our shows were in the evening, during the day I didn't have a lot to do, and I started stumbling into French flower shops. You're probably asking why. My mother was a floral designer, and I would go to these flower shops and think of the flowers spilling out into the streets. We just didn't have that back in the US at that time. So I was mesmerized by the beauty of just how many abundance of flowers. The shops, the fleuristes as they're called, are quite small here, but they really make an impact with the florals that they carry and the types of flowers. Back when, we were doing, my mom would do bouquets with, the standard baby's breath, carnations, leather leaf. And here they were using wands of rosemary, peonies the size of like a dinner plate. It was actually something I've never seen. So I used to call my mom every Sunday and tell her about these flower shops. So hence I had this grand idea that we were going to open a French flower shop together. And of course, the name of the French flower shop I kind of interned at, truly I was washing buckets and just helping them cut flowers, but I felt so proud to be there. And the name of the flower shop was Les Fleurs. So I had this, again, dream with my mom that we were going to open a French flower shop. So when I did head back home, we started building the framework of opening this French flower shop. We actually opened it 35 years ago. I was 23, And we were so proud to have the same types of flowers, the same type of look that the French Parisian flower shops would have. And I just was so proud. And it was definitely a hard time in my life because after we opened, my mom passed away a month later. And I truly believe like her whole spirit is still with me. And every time I come to Paris, I walk the same streets and look at the flower shop and I'm reminded of her. So as the years went on, I definitely started to really miss Paris, and I would find any excuse to come back. I was a true Francophile. So I decided that because the flower shops would use like old, zinc buckets and other articles that were antique and vintage, I thought I'm going to start doing that. So I started making trips back to Paris for years and would collect things. First, I used to stuff them in my suitcase because I really didn't know how to get like the goods back to the US. It's actually a question a lot of folks ask me now. And now what we do is I come to buy here and I go to the big brocantes or fairs and we fill containers now and ship them back to the States and we display them all over our store. And it's quite remarkable because the things that you can get here is still so enchanting, so beautiful. I love the fairs we go to. And now I'd love to show you an adorable half bath that I did with some really cute wallpaper. But before that, this is an area that was empty space. We weren't sure what to do with it. And because again, we have 5 kids and we don't have all 5 kids coming to visit us, but when we do, we wanted to have something that we could, have extra sleeping areas. So this is actually a Murphy bed that comes out to 2 bunk beds. So it's great for, the boys when they're here and they want to just, crash. The other thing is it's a great table to work off of. Sometimes I have all my paperwork and I paired it with these adorable poufs or ottomans that the fabric is pierre frais and did it in a modern kind of tone on tone to match with the wood. And it's just a really great area to have this extra space to, again, accommodate, when the boys are here or friends are here. So I just love it. Because I love adding little touches throughout the house, this was something that was just adorable, and it's a flower frog. So if you can see the holes here, you fill it with water and then you put the stems in, and it's just a very different type of vase that you can use for your blooms, and I love it and I do use it. So it's here just waiting for me to use it when I do these things. Also, I don't know if any of you know this, but I wrote a book, and the book is all about French blooms and my story about how I came to France and became a floral designer, and about my home and the story of my mom. So if you ever want to read it, it's really a heartfelt story and one that I cherish. This is a long hallway that takes you to the bedroom and other areas of the apartment. Because it's a long wall, I found this artwork with sketching of like kind of lots of people, and I thought it spoke to me. I thought it was a really cool piece of art, and it's by an artist called Wayart, and I went a little crazy and I thought, even though it's kind of black and white, but I thought this texture and this detail would work really well, and it's a good sized piece, so it kind of anchors this wall, and of course more vintage lighting to add a little touch of je ne sais quoi. Off this long hallway we have a charming half bath with this beautiful wallpaper that I adore, again from the brand Antoinette Poisson. I paired it with a lovely chandelier just to add a little charm to this small space, with a traditional French mirror, and it was the most perfect size. I also thought leaving this space a little open, I could add a medallion, and this mirror spoke to me. I saw it, I knew it would be perfect here. Another thing I loved is this is actually a Japanese artist, and her work is absolutely so beautiful, and it fit nicely with the theme of the wallpaper and everything else we were doing in the apartment. So I often get asked, especially being a shopkeeper, so many folks come in, Sandra, where should I go, to, what's the favorite gardens you go to? What's your favorite restaurants? What clothing stores? Where do you buy this? And the questions go on and on. So I actually decided to hire someone to help me, and we made a whole Paris guide, and it's time tested of all the places I've been to. It's so helpful, and I'm so honored that I can share all the places that I love and adore with all my guests. I'm actually thinking of doing one on how to buy an apartment here, because that is probably the next biggest question I get. You know, I've heard so many folks are saying, like, how long and how often do you come? You know, there is the 90-day rule. If you do not live here permanently, you are allowed a visa for 90 days. After 90 days, you do have to head back to the States. But I do want to maybe include something that I can help others, who I can share my journey that would help others. Maybe find a dream place here in Paris as well. Welcome to my bedroom. This was such a joy to find. Most of the bedrooms I went and saw in the apartments were teeny tiny, so to have this extra space to fit an actually good sized bed was just such a joy to find. One thing I loved about this room also is that it had this blank wall in the back, and I found this vintage wallpaper, almost like a mural, because I knew getting an artist to come in would be quite expensive. So I thought this would be a really nice touch to the bedroom and to anchor the room as well. And I also love these floors. They're the parquet floors that you saw in the kitchen, and I feel they just bring this room to life and have so much character. So I'm so glad we kept them. Really trying hard to delicately take care of them and not wear shoes all the time, and hopefully they're going to last a lot longer. A few details I wanted to get were, of course, a proper seat to put my shoes on, and this was the most perfect size. I got it from a French brand called Floral. I love it in the type of linen fabric we did, but look at this vintage light. It is just such a really fun, cool kind of light fixture. Wanted something different, and the flowers just spoke to me. Look at these tulips, they're so cute. Paired it also with more vintage art, and the frame is also vintage, so it pairs nicely with all the colors in this room, and I love her. I think she's looking over her shoulder, something kind of special. Then we wanted to get some bedside tables, and I didn't want them to be matchy, so this is just a traditional French marble end table, really petite, which I love the little iron detail around the base. This bedside table I found at Chateau, and the carving was so detailed and special that I knew it would be perfect for the side of this bed. And the knobs are just so simple, playing off to the carvings on either side, and it just works really nicely. Something I have to talk about, I thought nightstand with big lamps were going to be just too cumbersome or get knocked over. So I paired it with these two hanging medallions, also from the artist Alix Derenice. They're porcelain, and they have a little beaded texture on the top. I love the size, I love the scale. I thought it really played nicely against the ceiling and the gorgeous wallpaper mural. And they're actually quite taskful too, where we can use them for reading at night. For the bedding, I went very simple, mixed it with a gorgeous quilt and some linen and a velvet pillow. Very simple. I didn't want it to compete with the mural. But one piece my husband insisted I get for the bedroom is something where he could charge his phone, his computer. I found this also at a brocante and thought this was the most perfect size. I love the detail. The drawer holds our chargers, wherever else we need, and it's just great for us to put whatever we need to put down when we're traveling here. And it's the most perfect size. I could not have made it more perfect, and I love it. It's a really great piece. One of the things I also found really challenging is most of the apartments had no closet space. So when I walked in to this master bedroom and saw this walk-in closet with ample room to put extra linens, all my clothes, even a little hamper, I was like, this is just amazing. So it's truly a joy to have so much space and to be able to put all the clutter in here, and I love it. It's great. A unique detail are this lovely beams you'll see throughout the apartment, and I love that they're exposed, and it kind of gives it almost like a little barny feel, but I really like it because it kind of grounds the room. It picks up what the parquet floors are doing, and it's like a really cool entrance to my little walk-in closet here. So now we're gonna head to the master bathroom. So you see more of this beam work throughout this part of the house. And I love this bathroom because it's actually quite large. It's been modernized, and what's really great, it has a full bathtub and a shower and another toilet. So it has a lot of space in here, overhead, rain head. It's really just great size for this size apartment. The artwork in here is a little bit of a mix. So I have one vintage over here, but this is also that photographer who shoots black and white, and this is a cafe, and I just loved the detail where it's flowers, and it's just very simple with the old Haussmann style apartment building in the back, and it's really I don't know, it speaks to me and just reminds me of Paris. So I love when I walk in and I see it. One of the main reasons I really wanted a place to rest my head here is because I do come for work. I come 5 to 6 times a year. One being to go to all the antique fairs and to fill containers and bring them back to our shop. The other reason is, of course, to get inspiration, like just seeing how they design. I'm actually in the area of the Saint-Germain-des-Prés where all the designers are here, the big brands like Pierre Frey and the wallpaper companies, and the inspiration here is just amazing. So another reason I come. And the third reason I come is because I lead tours here, and that's the reason I'm here this week. We have 9 lovely guests coming and 1 gent. We're super excited, and what we do is every morning we either meet here in my apartment for petit déjeuner or one of our local hotels that our guests are staying in, and then we have chauffeurs that take our guests with us, of course, as your hosts, and we bring you to amazing places. We bring you to artisan brands, we bring you to brocantes, we bring you to the famous Saint-Ouen, the Marais de Puce, which is where the biggest, largest antique market in all of Paris lies. It's such a fun place. You find all kinds of, oddities, but also really amazing vintage mirrors, and actually you can get vintage buttons and make a necklace. This is a Chanel one I found in Saint-Ouen. And we also love to show guests just the way the French live, the cafes, the restaurants, and really soak it all in and have an experience. I do tell all the ladies that come with us that if you want to go see the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre, then that's not the tour. I do. I really want to immerse you on how I live, what markets I go to. Actually went to a market yesterday to get some flowers, and it's actually made famous because Ina Garten, when she's here, it's the one she goes to. So the food there is outstanding, but just very different than what we see in America. So I love to, invite my guests to see that and see how I live. So. What makes this house a home, I feel, are all the touches that I put into this home, because when I was shopping around, I just didn't want to go to one shop and just, collect everything and say, okay, I'm done. I took my time. I wanted to make sure it was the right piece. I also wanted something to speak to me. If it really wasn't my style or something I just was like okay about, I didn't really want to purchase it. So to make this house a home, I had to make sure I loved everything. And if I loved it, I knew it would sit so beautifully here. And every time I would revisit and come back to Paris, I feel it would warm my heart. So I encourage that. Buy what you love.
Hi, Homeworthy. Welcome to my home. Please come in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, Homeworthy. Welcome to my home. My name is Gabrielle. I live in Maintenon, which is 1 hour from Paris. So I'm a visual merchandiser, which is my main job. But I do also work as a community manager. I do some photographies, and I'm also a content creator on my social media. I share interior design ideas. So now I live in the countryside. So I live in Paris for about 10 years. I wanted to live in the countryside because I grew up in the countryside, and I was looking for more space. My last apartment was about 12 square meters, and so it was really small, and I need like a huge space. One bedroom, one living room, like a space to work. This town is really nice because my sister lives just not far from me, and so that's pretty great because I'm close to my family, and that's nice. So here we are in my living room, which is also like my atelier. Here you have like my desk corner. This is where I work most of the time. But you have also like my couch. So you have, the space is divided in two. So you have here the living room where I can lay down and relax. And here you have like my desk corner, and this is where I work and create decoration. So in this corner of my home, you have my desk corner, and above it you have this huge gallery wall that I built months ago. And I wanted to start this gallery wall because I had many frames behind my doors, and I wanted to hang them because as I'm more at home, I wanted to hang them and to see them. And so I started from the bottom, and it just goes like a puzzle. And I try to use different sizes, different types. So you have paintings, you have drawings. So this is one that I painted myself. You have this one, which is a print from an exhibition that I did in London in 2019. So this painting is from Heather Felder, which is an artist that I love, and she painting this one for me. And she paints a lot of portrait women, and she loves to represent complexity of emotion of women, and she does amazing work, and I just love what she do. I have another 2 or 3 other work from her, and I just love what she do, and she's a great artist. So this one is pretty unexpected because you see a frame with necklaces, and so these necklaces are from my mother. She does jewelry, and she loves to create, and she taught me a lot about creativity, and I wanted to hang them and make them like a piece of art. As I'm a visual merchandiser, I love to highlight products, and I want to see them in a different way. And so that's why I wanted to hang them like a piece of art, and I think it works, and I think it's really pretty, and it's unexpected. So this one is an illustration from my little sister, I love this one because she make a black and white illustration, and this is different from she do because she loves to sew. And so this drawing is a special one because I never see like this, and so that's why I love it. Voilà. So I have this shelf that I've thrifted on Vinted for €1. So it was really, really, really cheap, and it allows me to display my brushes. This is part of this gallery wall. So when I start this gallery wall, I hang first this shelf, and so that's why I started to around, but also, as I said earlier, down. And it allows me also to, when I need to take a photo for in my social media, I can display things, a flower or anything. So right now, I displayed the mushrooms that I created recently. And so I just let them like this because we are in the fall season, and so this is part of the decor for now. So this candle holder, I really love it. I thrifted also from Vinted, and I love to create like nature moments. And so this is fake storms, very easy to care of. And I love to display dried flowers. So here you have my TV corner, and I used, as I don't have a huge space, I wanted to have like a piece of furniture, but not very large. And so I decided to use wooden boxes from bottled wine, and I painted them in white. And it goes like a shelf, and I can display thrifted vases, all my books, frames, and sometimes I like to change depending on my mood, but I think it's a nice hack if you want to have like a shelf, but not very large. Here you have this full wreath that I created a few weeks ago, and honestly, for me, I think this is really hard to find full decor in France, especially wreath, but also pumpkins and everything. And so I use dried flower from my previous spring flower, and I just hang them, and I think it works for the fall season. So as a visual merchandiser, my main job is to highlight products. So it could be products or it could be painting, independent. It depends of the client or the project. My main domain is to work on in a Windows shop. So I'm always working in small spaces or big one, depends of the project. What I love about interior design is to work around the season that we are into. And so right now we are in fall. So you will see around the house mushrooms. So you have my wreath that I did. You have fake stems. You have real ones for sure. And so you have colocants and pumpkins. Very hard to find in France, pumpkins. So you have those mushrooms that I created months ago for the fall season. And so I have many of them around my house. I love to display them in my kitchen. You have on these shelves, sometimes under a transparent globe. And so I love to celebrate nature. I love to work around nature. So I'm doing this on my free time to just having a good time and to just relax. And so that's what I love, to work around the season. So right now, as we are in fall, this is mushrooms. And when it's on Easter, you have those eggs that I painted during on April. So you have those flowers on it. So as I am renting this part of the house, I already have furniture here. And so as you can see, this couch was already here, and it was before purple. And I wanted to cover it, and I just bought an Amazon cover on it and add some texture and patterns on it to just make it feel more, not just like a white couch. And so I use a fabric, which is not a fabric, it's a scarf, but it's the same. And just add pillows to make it cozier. And behind me, I have this chair that I found in Paris on the streets. And the guy has many many objects, many furniture. He has table and everything. I saw this chair, and I thought it's perfect for my place, and so I took. My sister helped me to bring it back here, and so it's really nice to find Sometimes you found pieces outside in the streets, and sometimes you found garbage, but sometimes you find great pieces like this one. This coffee table, I bought it recently because before I had like a glass coffee table, very small, very squared. And this one, I love it because it's almost like a French aisle from a kitchen. The size is perfect because it's really hard to find nice coffee table, very small for small spaces. And so this one is perfect because this is not small, but this is not huge at the same time. So for me, this is the perfect size. And sometimes when I have to work on something very detailed and special, I love to sit here and work on this table because the light is very great here because sometimes my home is dark during the afternoons. So I built this gallery wall above my couch, and I wanted to be a little bit harmonized. So I used the blue and the yellow, which is a color that I really love. I'm really obsessed with the yellow color. So you see this lamp is also yellow. And so on this side you have this huge painting that I thrifted in an antique store. So around my home I have many lamps, and because my home is not really light during the day, I have to turn on the light. And so I wanted to find different lamps. And you see that this one is a lamp that I thrifted on, it's from Vinted. And you have also this lamp, which is like the same material. This is also from Vinted. So I love all the different shapes and colors of lamps. So I have different. So this one is a lamp that my mother created for me when I first moved in, and she used a fall garland and created like a nature moment in the house, and so I just love it. And for me, it works all the year. So I just love it. And you have also this lamp that I really love. I have this one for many years. I would say maybe since I was 16 or 17. And this is like an architect lamp. And it's very practical for me because when I have to work for a specific project or a detail, you can move around, and it's really nice. I can also turn like this and spray like a huge light. I really love this lamp. As you can see behind me, I have many frames, and so I have different gallery walls around the house. And so at first I was very hesitant to hang frames on my walls because I worked a lot outside, and so when I go home I just wanted to have like a blank canvas to work. And so now that I'm more at home, I just need to hang all the frames that I already have, because I always love to thrift frames for me or for gifts and everything. And so that's why now that I'm more at home, I just wanted to hang them and create gallery walls to help me to be inspired for my work. So here we are in my kitchen, which is a very small kitchen. Very practical for me because I'm not a huge cooker, even though I love to bake, I love to make some small meals, but I make it like very practical for me. So you have here my coffee space. So you have my coffee maker, you have my bread box. This is a box where you have my eggs, it could be my vegetable. So this glass cabinet I thrifted months ago, As in my kitchen, there is no shelves, there is no closet. I wanted to add like a glass shelf because I love transparency. I love to open it and see what's inside, and it's very practical because I have all my coffee mugs and a cup of tea. You have my sugar, you have my tea, and so this I thrifted on Vinted, and I painted with this burgundy color. And inside I use a yellow mustard because in my kitchen I wanted to use burgundy, yellow and green. So as I don't have many space to tidy my things, I wanted to find ways to create like spaces practical for me to cook. So as you can see, I use this mirror box and I turn it on the wall to use it as like a tidy moment to hang my scissor for the tea, the spoon and everything. And so this is a great way to use the space. You have this basket that I use for my fruits and vegetables, and so this is a basket and you just hang like this. I use two, and it's very practical for me because as I don't have many real corner closet for tidy my things, I use this hack to hang a basket, and I think it works, and this is also like a decor and very pretty for the eye. So I thrifted this glass cabinet for my spices. I saw this idea, I think it was on Pinterest, and I really love this idea, and also we are always with this idea of transparency and see what's inside, and I just love it, and it's very practical for me because they are all of them, they are here, and so I just have to open it, and it's very cute. It's very nice for me, and I just really love it. So as I love to thrift and find old things, I have many plates, many trays, and so I want to use them as a decor because sometimes I have too many, and using them as a decor is very nice because it adds a very visual interest, and it's really pretty in the home, and I just love it. And sometimes I love to change the color depending on the season. So I love to collect blue dishes, and it reminds me like the English cottage style, and they are not very matchy, but I just love them, and I have a different one. I have this one that I love to use for snacks or anything, and I have different types of blue dishes, and I love the way that they are not always the same because it's really hard to find like a real set, and sometimes it could be very expensive, so I really love it. So here you have my kitchen shelf. So this kitchen is very small, so I don't have many cabinets and many things to tidy, and so I installed this shelf. I have all my glasses, I have pots with my pasta, and pretty vases when I need to use to decor my home. I have all of them here. And I thrifted recently this it's on Vinted, and so I have my tea. I just love it because it's a little bit like cottagey. What I love about my town is that you are like in a small city, but you also have the forest, you have the river, so I live across the river. The first time when I walk in this place, the first thing that I see was the view. The view of this place was, it just, I see this window, and I was just like, okay, this is where I want to live. I see the river, I see the ducks, I see so much beauty and the nature like just in front of me, and I thought this is amazing, and the space was very bright, a little bit old also, and that made me feel like a real home for me. If I have to describe my style, I would say I'm a little bit eclectic, also maximalist in a way, but I love to mix styles. So I don't want to be stuck in one style. So sometimes you will see that I have like a cottage vibe, you will see that I have like a modern vibe, different style. And I think for me, mixing styles is a great move to have like a unique home, but also to have like this huge opportunity to love many things. Maybe it's a problem, but So now we are going to see my bedroom. So I really love this bedroom because it's a huge space. The room is really big, and it's really nice because before I had a small space, and so now I have a big bedroom. As you can see here, there is like a blank wall. It's because I love to watch movies, and so I have a projector. The first thing that I really love when I walked through the first time in this room was this view. The view of the river is just so beautiful. I have the chance to observe the nature. I see ducks, I see squirrels, and this is just so beautiful and very peaceful, and I really love it. And the space is really, the vibes are really good here, and I really love it. And I wanted to keep it very bright, so that's why I have less frames, but I have mirrors to for my makeup, to put my jewelry and everything. So it's more bright, but it's very peaceful for me. So this is the corner where I love to display all my jewelry. I love to wear earrings, so I have many. I have also rings, necklaces. So I really love this corner of my home. It's the corner with my golden mirror that I thrifted on Le Bon Coin, which is a huge mirror, and I really love it. It's really heavy. At first I wanted to hang on the wall, but as it is really heavy, I didn't want to make a huge hole on the wall, and so I just let here, and I think it's really nice. But sometimes it's hard to see myself. I just have to be like this to see my outfit, but I really love it because when it's Christmas or fall, I love to create a garland by myself. So this garland is homemade. I created this days ago, and I use dried flower that I already have in my closet. I dried oranges, I sprayed fake stems and flowers, and add some pumpkins to remind the fall season. I really love it. So home for me means feel like you are in a safe place, like a safe haven, you know. But also for me, especially as I work a lot here, a place where you are inspired and you have ideas that came from your home because you build it, because you have the things that you collected or gave, or memories. It could be photos and etc. So, and books for sure. And so that's why home is about like a safe place. Thank you, Homeworthy, for touring my home today. See you next time. Bye.
Hey Homeworthy, Maddie Clark here, and welcome to my Paris apartment. Come on.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Maddie Clark, and welcome to my Paris apartment. I'm an American who's been living here in France for about 4 years now, and I work in marketing in the skincare industry for a popular French brand, and I'm also a content creator. I've dreamed of living in Paris since I was a little girl, and it all kind of started when I was about 3 or 4 years old, and my mom started reading this children's book to me called Madeline about a little girl who lived in Paris. And before I even really knew what Paris was, I became absolutely obsessed with it. So I first came here for my 16th birthday with my mom and my aunt. And the first time I came to Paris, I absolutely fell in love with it and decided in that moment that I would do whatever it took to move here. Flash forward to the time that I was 22 years old, I quit my full-time job in California after finishing undergraduate and moved here completely alone to au pair. A lot of people thought I was crazy because I was literally just moving across the world in the midst of a global pandemic to be a nanny, but it was still the best decision that I have ever made. And after that, I decided to get my master's degree, and then I started working, and now I'm here. So when I finished my year of au pairing, it was time for me to look for my own apartment to rent, and it's quite a struggle in Paris. The real estate market is very, very competitive. I saw this place get listed at about 9 a.m. on a Friday, called them less than 2 minutes later, and was in here touring it 1 hour later. And especially as a foreigner, it can be really tricky to get an apartment here in Paris. There's lots of bureaucratic hoops that you have to jump through, lots of paperwork, and proving that you're able to legally reside here. So once I sort of got all of that handled, I pretty much just started bugging the real estate agent so much that I think they finally gave it to me in order to get me to leave them alone. I did tell them that this was like my absolute dream apartment, and I think that yeah, it was just meant to be. I really manifested this place. I could go back in my journal and look at like the journal entries that I was writing at the time of the characteristics that I was looking for in an apartment, and this one quite literally checked every single box and more. Okay, so this is the main living room and just the main living space of my apartment. So all of this artwork did come with the place, and I did some research looking into it. It's quite old, originally from the early 20th century, I believe. The wall is real stone. I don't know why, for some reason, everyone thinks that this is like wallpaper anytime I post my apartment on social media, but it's real stone, and this is completely original to the building. You will kind of see this in a lot of very old and historical apartment buildings, specifically in the Marais area. This is pretty much the centerpiece of my apartment, the mantle and the fireplace. Unfortunately, I could not light a real fire in here, but I love to decorate my mantle. I always keep fresh flowers on it, or I try to. My favorite place to get them in Paris is this really beautiful florist called Lovebox, and they create these like super artistic and feminine bouquets, which just perfectly matches my style. And I do collect books as well, if you couldn't tell by now. So this is an antique copy of Hans Christian Andersen original fairy tales. This one I actually found at a flea market ages ago. And yeah, it's really fun for me just to kind of mix and match what's on here during Christmas time. I also love decorating my apartment. This whole area gets transformed as well with holiday decor. So when I first moved into this place, pretty much all of the furniture was already here. A lot of it is antique and or custom made. So like you can see the upholstery on this chair perfectly matches the dining chairs, and which also perfectly matches the drape holders. So it's really nice because although it did come fully furnished, I was able to sort of make it my own with my own different accessories. So all of the books and everything else that you see here are mine. For example, this pillow is a super special touch that I recently added. This is like a famous quote from my favorite book series called Throne of Glass, for anyone who knows it. And this was actually handmade and sent to me all the way from the US from this small business called Shop Everlore. So that was just really sweet because I do post on TikTok quite a lot about the books that I love and how much the story means to me. So adding personal touches like that for me is really important in creating a home. This is my favorite reading spot. Sometimes actually, if the weather's nice, I will drag this over to the window, open the windows, and kind of just like prop my feet up on the windowsill, and it just kind of feels like I'm the main character in a movie set in Paris. So this is my guitar that I am trying to learn through watching YouTube videos myself. I can play about like one song. I'm definitely not a professional by any means, but it's just kind of a hobby that I love to do on the side. I've always been super, super passionate about music. I used to do a lot of vocal lessons and theater when I was younger, and I kind of lost sight of that as an adult. So it's really nice to be able to get back into like my childhood passions, and music is such a huge part of my life. I'm really inspired by artists like Taylor Swift or Phoebe Bridgers, that kind of style. This is my pride and joy. This is my antique bookshelf. It actually had a massive door on the side so you could like open and close it, but I took it off because I wanted all my books on display. So I have pretty much read all of these. This is a gift that one of my best friends got for me, and it is like my favorite thing ever. So it is a stamp with a seal of my name on it. So every time after I finish a book, I will stamp it. We're gonna try to find one that I haven't stamped because I had most of these books when I got this, so I have not had the time to sit down and stamp like all 300 books yet. Okay, so this one's not stamped, so we can do it together. So you just press the stamp on here, and she got it for me in gold, which I love because it just, again, perfectly matches my taste and my style. And this is great because if I ever loan books to people, they will remember to bring it back to me, I hope, because it has my name on it. Of course, one of my favorite features of my Paris apartment is the huge French windows that open up onto the street. So I planted all of these window boxes myself, and they're like my pride and joy. I feel like they just add such a nice, whimsical and classic Parisian style to the apartment. I really love being able to open the windows and just hear the sounds of the city. A lot of times there are street performers, like classic jazz bands playing, and you can hear it kind of coming through. And it just really makes me remember that like I'm in Paris, because living here, of course, it's easy to forget sometimes, you know, when I'm going about my everyday life and going to work. And so, yeah, I really love just always leaving the windows open if the weather calls for it. Even if it's raining, I love having these open and listening to the sound of the rain. It just feels so magical. So this is my little dining table. This is where I actually do a lot of my work when I'm working from home. It's where I pretty much eat breakfast every morning. I love to sometimes have friends over for dinner together, or an apéro, which is like happy hour. We usually just sit here and chat all night. We have lots more seating over here. This apartment was kind of built to entertain. Like there's so many spots for guests to sit, and I love how it's kind of an open concept, all facing in towards the center. And it's actually really funny because this map of Paris, like this specific drawing, I have like the Americanized Amazon version of it essentially hanging in my bedroom at home, and it's been hanging there since I was probably 10 years old. So when I came to tour this apartment and I saw like this exact map of Paris, like, you know, the vintage one, it was kind of just a weird like full circle moment, felt almost like a sign from the universe. This book is really special to me for so many different reasons. So this is the story that my mom used to read to me pretty much like every night before bed when I was growing up. I think it started probably when I was about 3 years old. And so if you're not familiar with this book, here's my stamp in it. It's about a little French girl named Madeline who lives in Paris. And naturally, as a small child, I thought that this book was about me because that's my name, so of course it is. And it was really because of this book that I became so hyper-fixated on Paris from a very early age, before I really even knew what the city was. And so I remember being about like 5 or 6 years old, begging my mom to take me to Paris, and she would always say the same exact thing. She would always say, well, you're too young now, but for your 16th birthday, I will take you to Paris. And sure enough, she delivered. We came here for the first time when I was 16 years old. And I remember within 10 minutes of walking around the city, we were going across the Pont des Arts, which is the former Lovelock Bridge. I was just standing there, and I just like had this feeling of, you know, this is where I meant to be. And I kind of decided in that moment that I was going to move here and do whatever it took. And yeah, so having this book here in my apartment in Paris is just a really like emotional, full circle, crazy thing for me to have. Funnily enough, the main character, Madeline, gets her appendix out in the book, and that's kind of the main plot point. When I first moved here, I had to get an emergency appendicitis. So self-fulfilling prophecy, maybe. So I have a lot of really beautiful light fixtures in this apartment. This is one of my favorites. It's just so stunning with the gold leaf detail and the crystals and the candelabra style. It really adds that sort of classical old world charm to the space that I love so much. So of course the chandelier is one of my favorite features in this space, along with this massive, massive mirror. This came with the space, but it is completely vintage. I really don't know how old it is, to be honest with you, but all I know is it was purchased at an antique market by the actual owners of this space. I love the chandelier because it truly just adds that classic Parisian touch. It makes this place feel so magical, and I think it fits perfectly with the wooden beams on the ceiling, which are another typical feature of these very old Parisian apartments, and that I think adds just so much character and flair to it. So this rug I did purchase myself. I wanted to go for the all white to kind of brighten the space up because, you know, the red, as much as I adore the color red, it can be very heavy to the eye. So I just wanted something to make it feel more cozy. And when I added this rug, it felt like the missing piece that brought it all together. It makes it feel so much more warm and welcoming in here. The coffee table is also very special because, again, also an antique. It has this really beautiful gold metal detailing on it and these really intricately painted flower designs on top. If I move the books over, you can kind of see it. I always have lots and lots of candles lit. It's actually one of my favorite things to do, to take candlelit showers because I don't have a bathtub, so I can't do like a candlelit bubble bath. But to wind down after a long day at work of, you know, stress in the city, I actually take all of these candles and put them in my bathroom and light them all and do kind of a very dimly lit shower, and I feel like I'm just like at a luxury spa. So this building and my apartment dates back to the 1700s. Most of the features in this building are completely original. They actually renovated it 1 year before I moved in, so it's really cool because there are a lot of modern updates, but they still managed to preserve the old character of the building, which I was super, super drawn to. The moment that I walked into this apartment, I was absolutely in love. The chandelier, of course, first caught my eye. It is just absolutely stunning, and it's very old, very original. I love how unique it is and how special, and it has a sort of like royal feel to it almost. I sort of feel like I'm in like a little castle. My friends actually jokingly call this place the Barbie Dream Castle, and I think that that pretty much sums it up. My apartment is located in a very popular neighborhood of Paris called the Marais, and I love this neighborhood so much because not only is it super historical and part of the original Paris, directly in the center, it's really, really close to pretty much everything. I get around a lot by biking or by taking the metro, so it's really great to be so central. There's also some of the best restaurants, shopping, cafes, bars, museums, art galleries. Everything is pretty much in this area, and it's filled with a lot of really cool international people, a lot of artists, a lot of people, you know, working some very cool, interesting jobs similar to my own. So this is my entryway. It's really perfect because I have this little mini table built into the wall and also a mirror. So of course you can check to make sure that your makeup's okay before you leave the apartment. And a really unique feature about this space that I love are these light switches. It actually took me quite a while to figure out like how to properly work them, but they just look like something that would be on a boat, and I feel like they add so much charm to the space. In my little entryway as well, we have these beautiful ornate coat or purse hangers, and as well this little mantle thing above my bedroom door. So I really love how tall the ceilings are in this space. It adds kind of an open and airy feel. It really just makes the space feel kind of like a loft in a way. And we have another super beautiful lighting fixture right up there above my bedroom door, so that has crystal and more of that gold metal hardware. So I love this little painting of Notre Dame. This did actually come with the apartment. It was one of the pieces that I really loved, and the fact that it's over the door is just something that I probably never would have thought of myself, but it just makes perfect sense with the flow of the space. And you know, when I first came here, it did look very different from how I now have it set up. I rearranged things quite a bit, you know, added all of my own accessories and other decor to truly make this place feel like my own. If I had to describe my design style in 3 words, I would definitely say it's very feminine. I love soft shapes and light colors, love the colors gold and pink and white. I also really, really adore always having fresh flowers, incorporating just things that make me feel empowered as a woman around my apartment. And to me, those happen to be things that are a little bit feminine in style. And I would also say classic, you know, of course I love kind of the old school French style in terms of having my grand chandelier and the beautiful windows that open up onto the street and my fireplace. I would also say that my design style is very fairy tale-esque. I absolutely love reading and I love period dramas, fantasy books, that whole realm of literature. And so when I was looking to create a space, I really wanted something that made me feel like I was a character in one of my favorite books. So this was the living room, and then now we can actually move over here into the kitchen. My jaw dropped the first time that I came in this apartment and saw the black kitchen. It was something that was super unexpected. Like, when I think of my dream kitchen, I had never once thought of a black kitchen, but when I saw this, I was just like absolutely blown away. It's really nice because the fridge is actually hidden in here with this cabinet, so you can't even see the fridge. I'm very lucky because I have a dishwasher, which is something that my former apartment here in Paris did not have, so it's super convenient for me to have. I think my favorite spot in the whole kitchen has to be my little coffee bar. I use this section of the kitchen multiple times a day, every single day. I also really love my Marais tulips. These are just such a fun piece that I put out normally when I'm having cocktail parties. So of course I have lots of wine and champagne glasses for when I entertain. These ones are really cute because they're just so unique. I've never seen any with this kind of like multicolor jeweled looking bottom, and they have some French poetry written on them. I also have a pretty big collection of glassware, of different fun teapots and teacups and things like that. I have had quite a few little tea parties. I usually have one every year for Valentine's Day where we take all of these out and get a bunch of like girly sweet treats, you know, macaroons, French pastries, that whole ordeal. The black and white ones at the top, those are all from Spain. And I have the matching dish sets as well. You can see like these. I have some hand-painted shot glasses as well. These are really fun for girls' nights out. So, of course, because we're in France, I always have to have a baguette at the ready. This is pretty much like one of my go-to snacks, I would say, with some really good French cheese or butter. And I do like to cook as much as I can. I honestly have quite a busy schedule, so it can be hard, but I love taking the time to make myself a nice meal. So the blinds in the kitchen are actually one of my favorite parts of my apartment as well. These are custom made too. The design is just so beautiful, and again, it perfectly ties in with the black color scheme of the kitchen. I also do keep some of my gardening stuff in the kitchen. So like I said, I planted all of the flowers in the window boxes myself. It's one of my favorite things to do every spring. They bloom so beautifully in the summer. Of course, I have to take care of them still though after I plant them. I really love how this apartment has just become my safe space. Paris is a really chaotic city, of course, at times, and as well, being someone who moved here completely alone, I just really cherish the fact that I was able to create a home here and somewhere that makes me feel so relaxed and comfortable. You know, coming back here after a long day, running around the city, working all the time, it's really nice to have a place where I can just decompress and kind of enter into like my own little world. It's sort of like my storybook castle hidden away inside of the city. When I first moved to Paris, I started posting on social media, specifically TikTok, just kind of for fun to, you know, document my life here and the things that I was doing. And ever since I started doing that, I started to get a lot of questions from people who were not only traveling to Paris, but looking to move abroad, similarly to myself. And so I kind of just started doing this as a hobby, and in the last like 2 years I've been so fortunate because it's really sort of taken off for me. I've been able to travel the world as a content creator, work with some amazing brands, attend really cool events like Paris Fashion Week. So that's one aspect of my professional life. I also got my master's degree in strategic brand management and global communications, and I work at a really popular French skincare brand here in Paris. I do marketing for them, and I specifically work with the US market, so it's kind of like a perfect hybrid for me as an American living in France. You know, I work for a French brand, but my job every day is specifically for the US, so it's a perfect mix of my skill set, and it's very international. Plus, I get lots of beauty products. Okay, so you've seen the kitchen. Now moving on into the bathroom. The bathroom is actually quite a unique space in my apartment, and I'll show you why. So this bathroom honestly feels like a cave. The rock sink is probably one of the most unique features in my apartment, and I love, love, love this light fixture. It's this beautiful pink flower, and it creates kind of like a rosy, super ambient glow in the space. So as you can see, the floors and the walls are all painted this same really cool pearlescent kind of gray color, which just, you know, really adds to that cave-like atmosphere. The shower is quite interesting, and all of my American friends always comment on this because no, there's not a door, so it's all glass, no door. This is kind of typical for a lot of Parisian apartments. For some reason, they don't have shower doors that close as commonly, so it's just open, but usually it's okay. Water doesn't get on the floor like that much. I also have this whole shelving unit built into the wall, which is really great for storage. And I have some more antique artwork as well in the bathroom, of course. All of the doors in my apartment are very unique too. Again, they're this really like vintage style, so super unusual doorknob and latch system. One thing that I wish I knew before I moved to Paris would be French. Just kidding. No, I really didn't know much French before I moved here. Anything that I had learned in the US, you know, in undergraduate classes and even like in middle school, pretty much was not applicable because, you know, the way that they're speaking French here every day is so different from textbook French. So I, of course, you know, would say more French, but I've learned so much since moving here and kind of just being forced to learn. The best advice that I would have for someone who maybe wants to move to Paris but is too intimidated would be to just go for it. It's scary, it's not gonna be easy, but this is the best decision I have ever made. I quite literally left behind my entire life in the US and I was terrified. I came here alone, I didn't know anyone, barely knew French, but to this day, it's the best decision I ever made. And so if that's something that you're thinking of doing, guess what? If it doesn't work out, you can always go back. Nothing is forcing you to stay here, but it's better to do it and have regrets than to spend your whole life wondering. And now I'll show you guys the final room in my apartment, my bedroom. So this bed is quite literally one of the most comfortable beds in the world. This is probably actually my favorite spot in my whole apartment. I really love the gold metal headboard. It's super unique. I've also never seen anything like it. I have all of my travel journals here. So since I moved abroad, I've traveled to almost 30 countries. Traveling is literally like one of my greatest passions in life. It's so, so important to me. So I take any opportunity that I can to travel. And of course, I have to document all of it, which is why I have these. They're all like filled to the brim. I have some postcards here from my most recent trip to Turkey. Yeah, so it's really funny because whenever I go on trips, I try to save things like receipts and even business cards of where we're staying, hotel room keys. I always actually collect postcards wherever I am, and sometimes the people I'm with are kind of like, what are you doing? Why are you saving all of this junk? But it's because I just love to, you know, keep all of the memories of everywhere I've traveled to. So yeah, these are pretty much like little scrapbooks of my life and all of the places I've traveled to, and it's really special for me to go back and read these and just kind of relive the moment of who I was in that different place around the world. This one I actually started when I was studying abroad in Paris in 2020, and fun fact, I actually kind of got deported because of COVID. I got an email from the French government telling us that we had about 48 hours to leave, but before that happened, I remember I wrote this entry on my very first day, like fully living in Paris, and oh my god, I'm gonna get so emotional if I start reading this. I'll read part of it for you guys. So this is from February 2020, and I wrote, I've been in Paris for almost a week now, but it already feels like so much longer. In a good way, though. I'm so happy and content with my life right now. This is exactly where I want to be and what I've waited for. I don't really think anything compares to the feeling you get when traveling somewhere new. I've been here before and fell absolutely in love, but now I'm experiencing the city in a new way and falling in love all over again. I really feel like I'm meant to be here. I'm finding my new favorite places and learning the language. It's only been 6 days, but I already feel more confident, independent than ever before, and I'm ready to see what Paris and the rest of France has in store for me. So yeah, I wrote that about 6 years ago, and now here I am in my very own apartment in Paris. So of course I have a pink silk sleep mask because I need to get my beauty sleep. And I just have this beautiful little rose by my bedside table. I pulled this from the bigger arrangement in the living room just to, you know, add a little bit more romance to my room and just, yeah, carry on with that girly and feminine style that I love so much. So my closet is pretty much like the ultimate dress-up closet. So as a content creator, I'm constantly going to different cool events and fashion weeks and even like galas and things like that. So of course I have to have the wardrobe for it. So this dress I actually wore this weekend, and I wore this gown to the Royal Opera at Chateau Versailles, which was just an unreal experience. I felt like a princess, and I wore this with some white gloves. So this dress I actually wore to my first ever Paris Fashion Week show. This was like a dream come true for me to attend and kind of like my I made it moment almost. So I think I will always have to keep this dress. It has the really cute feather detail at the bottom. So my grandmother had absolutely amazing style and taste, and I'm really fortunate enough that she left me a lot of her old pieces, and typically they're given to me as gifts for like big birthdays or life occasions. And the most recent one I got was this vintage Chanel scarf, and this was actually purchased here in Paris as a gift for her. Let me show you. And it's really cute because she had actually never gotten the opportunity to go to Paris herself, even though she really dreamed about it and wanted to. So it's just really special for me that I now have this scarf here. I love to wear this as an actual scarf or tie it on bags, things like that. This dress I wore this year for my 26th birthday, and I have never had a dress that just fit me so perfectly and so well. This is Marc Jacobs Ready to Wear. This is my favorite coat that I own. There's like a limited time window that I can wear this, you know, when the weather allows for it in Paris. It's a really good like early spring coat, and I'm just obsessed with the color and the fur cuffs. Every time I wear this, a lot of Parisians look at me like I'm crazy because this is so like anti-Parisian style, but I love it. Also have a pair of vintage go-go boots because you never know when you might need a pair. My favorite pair of shoes that I own are these limited edition Dior heels. Let me just show you. So when we take them out of their little dust bag, as you can see, I actually haven't worn them yet. So you can see they have this really beautiful shimmery embroidery with this dragon pattern. They're just so unique and unlike any other design I've seen from Dior in the past. And I have not worn them yet, as you can tell, because I'm saving them for something special. I don't know what yet. Another favorite piece of mine, I did purchase this one myself, but we have another vintage classic Burberry trench coat. This is like the Parisian wardrobe staple. I wear this, I would say, like over half of the year. It's so good every type of weather, fall, spring, even on chilly summer days. Okay, so this one actually, if you follow me on TikTok, maybe you recognize this dress because it was sent to me by a male suitor, and I did wear this to the opera in Paris. So this is pretty much it for my closet, and I can show you the rest of my bedroom. I really, really love my dresser. So again, this also came with the place, and it has this really nice black marble top. And as well, it has these really cool gold hardware pieces and keys where you can actually lock the dresser. See? And over here is pretty much just where I have a lot of my makeup and jewelry and perfume. I really, really love perfume, and specifically a lot of different French brands. So this is my pretty much everyday go-to. I also have this one engraved with my name on the top, which is just so fun. So one of my aunts who lives in Philadelphia in the US, her name is Aunt Lori. She actually used to come to Paris pretty much all the time when I was growing up, and she speaks French. She loves the city as much as I do. And because she knew how obsessed with it I was as a kid, she used to always bring me back fashion magazines from Paris. I actually have this one that she brought back for me before. And over here we just have more jewelry and my makeup. I sit here pretty much every morning to get ready and do my makeup because the natural light from the window is quite nice. Of course, another little cozy reading spot. And these beautiful embroidered white chiffon curtains really just kind of add into that like whimsical fairy tale-esque vibe of my apartment. And our final unique lighting fixture of the apartment, I love this one in my bedroom. It feels like super medieval almost. It has more of that kind of candelabra style light bulb placement. This one is also antique, of course. And I have this twin set of matching bedside tables. Carrying on with the book theme, there are actually these really cool like wooden books engraved. They're not real books obviously, but they kind of look like it, and I don't know what's in here. This opens out. Oh, nothing's in there right now. Normally I'll just store more random things inside of this. And I have this full-size mirror next to my bed so that when I wake up from a nap, I can immediately look at myself and make sure that I got enough beauty sleep. Just kidding. This is the best spot to nap in Paris, if I say so myself. I feel like a little princess every time I go to bed. Home to me is the place that I can feel the most comfortable and safe and free to express myself. It's also where I feel the most loved. And in the 4 years that I've been here in Paris, I can definitely say that this city has become my home. I, of course, will always love and have a special place in my heart for where I grew up in the US and for all of my family and friends there who I miss every single day. But Paris to me just feels like the city where I'm meant to be. So thanks for coming over, Homeworthy. It's actually my nap time now, so see you guys later.
Hello, I'm Worthy. I'm Alice.
I'm Anaïs, and we are so happy to having you.
Welcome. Welcome in our apartment.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Bonjour, I'm Alice Gras. I'm artistic director and of our company De La Joie.
Hello, I'm Anaïs Soyen. I am the partner of Alice in the works life and the real life also. And we are so happy to welcome you in our 70 square meter apartment in Paris. We arrived in this apartment 3 years ago, just before the birth of our daughter, Giselle. And it was special for us to move in because we have to find a place to welcome her. So we put a lot of love inside every details. We met at the party. She was in Black Swan and I was a princess. So it was a perfect match. And also we start to work together to produce some creative shooting and do some set design and also produce some events for brands. And after that we combine our work life and personal life. So we create a family together. When we are younger, we are a little bit shamed about the mix of the work and personal life, and we are thinking it's not very
Professional.
Professional, yes, right. But now we understand the chance of that,
The power.
and the power of that. I think we want to give to our daughter this freedom of perspective to live how she wants and to do what she wants, because life becomes more interesting like that.
This is our dining room.
And we especially love the part of our library here because we have all our collection of books. And also the new collection of our daughter. So it's a part important of our family life. And also we love this armchair. I found it on the flea market, an England fabric. and with the flowers. We choose a color of acne fabrics, and it's very poetic and reminds us the touch of Monet in a certain way. So that's why we choose this fabric. And this big masterpiece,
Yes,
the table.
this is our table that we designed, and we love the color like lavender. And we put fabrics on the Bauer chair.
When we arrived in the apartment, we also keep in mind the family parts of our life. So
We imagine Giselle draw on the bench.
and that's why we found the bench is the perfect match when we have child, and also yes, it's make it very cozy.
It's cozy.
So we like it, and that's why we designed the bench just behind the table. This artwork, it's more like an experimental works for us. We change it, we try to change it a lot because most of them come from Alice. She paints and she used pastel grass, and she also do ceramic plates, and we mix it with something we find very inspiring, like this very beautiful plates we come from flea market also, and we put some fabrics in the frame, and this inspire us when we
work on the table
here.
Yeah.
So we try to keep very close from us what it's an inspiration.
The light on the nature culture.
Yes, the website come from Netherlands,
Yes,
I think. And we keep from the last apartment we have, and put it here. And we love to have the mix between something, you know, the design with the steel and with the color, and the pendants are more like fluid, if I can say in French. So it's a perfect mix and is a perfect reflect of our style also. I think this part is very new for us, and I think it's gonna be my favorite part of the apartment. Because of the cabinet, it's come from USM design. Initially, USM designed most of furniture for office, but we found it's very interesting to have a very practical furniture, and to hide everything and expose what we love.
I made this collection of glass of wine. I call it calice, and they are in ceramics, so it's new to drink in ceramics, and I love the shapes. So I play with different shapes. And we made this little wood object with Anais.
And you paint it on the...
And I paint on the left and the right flowers, because flowers is very inspiring for us. And this is our last collection. I make this to eat pasta vongole. And I designed this plate. My inspiration is the sea. So I imagine this plate and I made it. So I designed the glass of wine in different shape. I thought it was very funny to drink in ceramics, and I love this material. So I designed this collection. I made this in crepon paper, and I love to make a mix with real flowers and paper flowers. I think the mix and match of the materials are a good way to create a good place to live.
This apartment is a Haussmann style, So it's very inspiring, and we try to brighter the style with something more some furniture, vintage furniture and modern furniture. So it's very inspiring and historical feeling.
I like the Haussmannian style because you can see sometimes flowers, sometimes fruits on the sill, and it's very fun, and it's very good to extend the style everywhere in your flat. Another characteristics of Haussmann style is a lot of doors, and it's very good to feel in your place, like in chambre à soi, and and if you prefer, you can open every doors to live with the others.
Yes, and also the floor, the woods of the floor.
Yeah,
it's very characteristic of the Haussmann style.
Yeah.
To have the chance to live with this kind of artisanat d'art.
Yes,
it's very important for us
Yes.
to celebrate it, and
Yes.
also to give them the freshness of the the freshness of our life. We rent this apartment, so we know the time is limited. So we try to do our best to give the light and the happiness of the apartment before to move.
we are not architects, so we are very free with the creativity. We love to put ribbons everywhere because we love mix the colors. We love to put flowers on the floor. We love to use flowers because it's a celebration of life, and it changes with the seasons.
I think our style comes from our hearts. It's most of the mixed what we love, and usually I think the style of the decoration, when you love something, it's like a flowers. You can mix everything, and also we try every day to make something, and sometimes we fail. So we did again, and so I think we are very inspiring by the house of Monet in Giverny, because the garden is very famous, of course, but the house is very interesting because Monet put a major color in each room, and when we visit the house, it was very interesting for us to think about that. So we choose a dominant color in each room of the apartment, and that's what we do in the past also. And after we had something to wake up the decoration, and I think it's a good direction to think with that mind, because it's more like a guide. And probably we also think about the energy of the color. So we talk about the yellow color. It's very energizing and very happy color. But for the bedroom, we choose to have a very light blue to be more quiet and to be more comfortable. And also in the bathroom, we choose the aqua color, aqua green, and it was inspiring by the bathroom in Italy. So I think we imagine a style more like a poesy of life, and also the nature inspiring us.
Welcome in our living room. We choose two colors, the white and the yellow for this place, because we want to feel the sun in the house. So it's good match. It's a good way to chill on the sofa. The sofa is in white booklets from the Socialite family. And we have our table that we designed, and I love to play with a lemon in this place, so I put a lemon sometimes. So we put fabrics on the walls. It comes from Dior, and we love the light on the fabric. It moves by during the day. I love books. We love a lot books, so I love to pretend it's like a furniture. So I love to put it like this and put everything on it like vase, and this is very simple vase, and you can put a ribbon to personalize it. I like to play with everything we have. Everything can be creative. We love the warmth of rattan furnitures. We think that it's a perfect match with other material, and it's remind me holidays in south of France. So I like the mystery of a mall. I like to put flowers everywhere, and for me it's important to stay in two colors. So I put the white, the yellow everywhere. I think the yellow is a strong saturation, very intense. So I will balance with the white, and the two makes a good combination. I think that everything can be an object. So this these very incredible bags could be very very beautiful on the table, and sometimes you can see combination in the flowers. You see this flower, there are two colors, so you love it, and you say, okay, I will do this combination on the wall. If you don't know how to match the colors, you just have to see in the nature, and you will see this kind of flowers, and you love the two colors. Everything is in the nature is a good match. We imagine this apartment like if we are in holidays. So we put agrumes, we put lemons, because our favorite fragrance is blossom flowers. So the smell is very good, and we love to open the door every day to feel inside, outside, everything is crossed. I love to put ribbons everywhere. Like dress me, I love dress the object of the house. I love to feel the south of France in Paris. Our design is very inspiring by the nature.
Yes, we liked the perfect nature of mixing colors or mixing shape, so we are a lot of inspiring. And also, I think we love to mix different fabrics, different style, and each style reminds us a souvenir. And when we mix it, we combine and we make our own style. I think our best tip, first, try. Mm-hmm. It's easy to say, but if you want to feel comfortable at your home, you have to identify what you like. Maybe you like a book, so put some more books on your home. Maybe you like flowers, put more flowers on your home. Start with one easy thing.
If I have a tips for somebody who wants to try colors, I think you can see a piece of art, a tableau, a frame, and you can feel what colors makes you happy, makes you good feeling, makes you joy, and you can add on your decoration. A decoration is like wear something, is like a dress.
As a renter, we absolutely want to be at home. So we take the risk to paint wall to feel well when we come back to home. I think it's very important to invest the place where you live first, and also you can manage with some room-val solution as a linoleum for like us, or like curtains. You can put color and joy, but not permanently.
To make a personal decoration in our house, we designed the floor on lino, and we put layers.
We keep some walls in white and just had some piece of art or something what Alice creates has ceramics. So she do a lot of ceramics. So we had some details to make our personal identity in the apartment. And also Alice designed for us 2 floors, one for the kitchen and also one for the bathroom. And she put a different pattern to create a very specific ambiance. And I think that's our signature. So we don't change everything. We don't put color everywhere, but we choose where we put the color. And also we love to work with a vibrant color. We work a lot with the intensity. Specifically for the dining room, we keep our table blue, and we had blue fabric on our chair, and we put the blue on the bench also. So we have a monoblock of blue, and like the sky. So we have the sun in the living room and the sky in the dining room. But when we had something with the season, like flowers or like plates, everything changed. Even we keep the color, every detail make the difference. So I think our identity of decorating is very personal, and we like to change with the season some details to live with the seasonal.
Yes,
that's natural for us.
And we work here and we live here, so the balance. The cursor is very important. We don't have to put a lot of things. We have to breathe.
Yes.
It's important.
I like to show you the kitchen, but we can do a quick stop in the entrance. In the entrance, we put a very small and practical guéridon, and we associate the guéridon with the lights, with the same steel, and we love it because it's reflecting the light, so that's what we choose. The style of every furniture is different, but they come from everywhere, and but this is why it's very specific of our taste, I think. Okay, let's go to the kitchen. Hello, in my yellow box, the kitchen. It's very small but very bright, and we love this place because we love to eat and we love good food. So we spend a lot of time, even it's very small room. So we put yellow under the wall, we paint this part also, and we choose to put fabrics here and here to have the feeling of the comfiness. So we choose a fabric come from England, and the specific of color of Harley, the fabricant, is you can choose every color you want for the strip and the larger of the strips also. So we choose the khaki and the bright yellow and do the same with the under the counter, but with a small stripe. Also, we choose to have a steel counter, so this is what we had here because it reminds us the old kitchen. So we like the match between the materials, and also we cover completely this part with the yellow sticker. This is every tricks to make the difference. And to finish the room, Alice designed the floor, a linoleum with a special design with our colors. And we also sell it on our website. And welcome in our bedroom. We especially love this place because she is more quiet, and we love to spend time to read and to have cuddle in the morning with our daughter. It's a place special for us, and Alice designed with the friezes. She make a collection like a jewelry, and she imagined like a old palais in Italy. I put some frame around our room and mirror and door also, and I think this is very an unusual way to use phrases, but it's very joyful for us. So in this room we use the dominant color is blue, but light, more lighter than our table. And we love to mix with the green, but a strong green, prairie green. And also we had some detail, very personal. Our tête de lit come from a fabric of my grandmother, who give to my grandmother. In France, we call that the trousseau. When the girl got married, she came with some furniture for her new life, and we decided to take the sheets and to make it for a tête de lit, and I sew every part of it to have this pliage and had the ribbons on the top. To finish this part, we had a curtain. The first curtain is a linen curtain, and the second one is a velvet curtain in blue. They come also from the Socialite family, a French brand we love so much. I think the soul of our apartment, it's every detail we mixed and combined. The mix of what Alice do for our home, the ceramic, the design, how we can take care also of our object, and I think yes, and also the lights play a very important role. Because when the light doesn't here, everything change, and our mood also. So I think the energy between object, fabrics, us, humans, and make the soul of the apartment. And probably the day we move from the apartment, the soul can be changed. So I think it's a mix of everything. And let me show you the bathroom. Welcome into the bathroom. So she's very small. So we make also a little box, aqua this time. And we choose to work with two colors, the aqua, very, very light, maybe very close from the white wall, but with a little bit touch. And we mix with the green. We are very happy to have this beautiful curtain come from design by Luc Edvard, an English designer. We love a lot Luc Edvard. It's very inspiring for us, and we love it. We love all his work, and we choose also to use curtains here. Also to finish the room, Alice designed again the floor with a linoleum, and this design reminds us also the Italian floor. So we was very inspired by the Italy voyage, and we put everything who brings us joy in this room with a little shells and our perfume and everything we used every day.
Home is a place to feel. Home is a place to give feelings to. I think the word from this apartment is joy, and we want to share these feelings with our friends, with our guests.
Home for us, I think it's a place where we feel joy, as you say, and
it's a safe place.
Yes, it's very important to feel safe and to welcoming the people who comes. I think home is a place and the feelings we build every day. So it's very important to keep this attention, even what happened in the life. I think that's what home means to us. So it's not specifically an address or a place, but it's more like what we put where we live and who we bring in this place also. And
I think home is family.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.